Today we're making a caramelized pear ginger tart. Not only is it the most show-stopping dessert, it is also one of the easiest to make. I can't tell you how many emails I get from friends and students who describe themselves as pastry challenged about their success with this tart. Many of them reported using store-bought pie dough with excellent results. So, if you want to do that, I won't tell if you won't tell. Let's peel some Basque pears. Basque and Taylor Gold are the two varieties that work great for this dish because they keep their shape after baking. Only 4 pears will fit into my skillet, but I always buy 5 in case of bad spots. Cut the pears in half and scoop out the core with a melon scoop or a paring knife. Cut out the fibrous lines that run from the stick to the core and trim the flower end. Over medium heat, melt 2 ounces of unsalted butter in a 10-inch oven-safe skillet. You want something you can comfortably lift because the tart will need to be flipped later, so I wouldn't use cast iron. Either stainless steel or Teflon will work fine. Add 3.5 ounces of granulated sugar and stir to make a sandy mixture. Give the pan a little shake to distribute the sugar evenly and add the pears cut side up. My pears didn't want to cooperate, so I had to trim several of them to make them fit. It would probably be smart to do a little pear fitting and trimming in a cold pan before cooking them. So, learn from my mistakes and do it the smart way. Remember how I had an extra pear? I trimmed the bad parts and made a circle to put in the center of the tart. Cook your pears over medium heat without moving or disturbing until the caramel turns the color of cinnamon. Here they are after 5 minutes, after 10, and after 15. I think we made it. Your timing might vary, of course, so keep an eye on them. Check one pear to make sure it's deep brown on the bottom. If it's darker than you hoped, even bordering on black, don't panic. I'll show you how to fix it after the tart is baked. Cool the pears to room temperature before proceeding, about 30 minutes. If it's more convenient, the pears can be cooked up to 5 hours earlier that day, but it is very important that you keep them room temperature after cooking. While we're waiting for pears to cool, let's mince some ginger. The ginger is optional, but its combination with sweet pears is irresistible. If you use it, make sure it's fresh ginger, not powdered, candied, or crystallized. I'll use about 1 inch to end up with a heaping tablespoon of ginger. It sounds like a lot, but the ginger will become candied as the tart cooks and will retain only a smidgen of its original bite. Mincing ginger is a real test of your knife skills, so I suggest you watch my ginger mincing video to master this technique. My pears are now cool, and I can give them a sprinkle of cinnamon and mince the ginger. Try to get ginger in between the pears so that it falls into the caramel. Here's the dough that I rolled out 20 minutes ago. You want to chill it for at least 20 minutes to relax the gluten, but it can be rolled out up to a day ahead and stored in the fridge in plastic wrap. Before unfolding it, make sure it's pliable. If it sits in the fridge for too long, it might need 5 to 10 minutes at room temperature to become pliable again. Be careful not to unfold it in its stiff state as it can break. Cover the skillet with dough. My circle is 1/8 inch thick and about 12 inches in diameter. Then tuck the edges into the skillet around the pears. If you're watching this video to satisfy your food porn craving, I don't want to bore you with the technical details about the dough. If you're actually making this tart, you should watch my dough videos to learn more than you ever wanted to know about pie dough. Pop your tart in the top third of preheated 425-degree oven. This will position the dough closer to the top wall and help it brown. Bake until deep brown, 30 to 35 minutes. It's better to overbake than underbake. Let cool for exactly 5 minutes. This will allow the caramel to stop bubbling, but won't allow it to harden. Cover with a plate whose diameter is larger than the skillet. Very important, or you'll go to emergency room with serious burns. I like to pick it up with my thumbs down so that I flip away from my face. Swallow that fear and flip it over. Ta-da! We have a tart. Cool it for 15 minutes and serve. You don't want to bake this dessert ahead, as the pears will shrink and wrinkle. It's best served warm right after baking. You could serve it with ice cream, but that feels too sweet to me, so I like to serve it with unsweetened creme fraiche. If you think it looks good, wait till you taste it. These pears are so succulent and juicy. And just when you think it doesn't get any better, you get to the flaky, caramel-soaked dough edges. I can never decide what I like more, the juicy pear or the dough edges. So I keep taking a bite of one and then the other until they are all gone. You know what's been my fantasy for as long as I've known this tart? To eat the dough edges around the whole tart, dunking each bite in caramel. Of course, I've never had a chance to fulfill this forbidden desire because I've never been left alone with this tart until today. Whew, that was close. I sometimes get carried away when I'm left home alone with all this food. One more thing I want to show you. If your pear is burnt, you can take a sharp knife and carefully trim the burnt spots. Then dab them with a bit of caramel and problem solved. This happened to me in class once and it was the best tart I've ever made. When caramel burns a little bit, it develops slight bitterness that balances the sweetness, and it's just heavenly. As always, all ingredient amounts are on my blog linked below this video. For more ways to burn food with delicious results, don't forget to subscribe to Helen's Kitchen channel. And if you're ever in the Boston area, maybe I'll see you in one of my classes.